Hey folks, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of Yomo. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today is a brand new week, so we're excited to get back to normal after the, kind of like weird week of the holiday, the birthday of America. So we're trying to figure out what a fifth vital is, Chris.
So this book is called The Fifth Vital. It's by the author Mike Majlak. I think that's how you say his last name, Majlak.
Sounds
I got to make it crystal clear, like who Mike Majlak is. I didn't know it until I read this book. I had no idea who this person was. Never heard the guy's name. So this is who Mike Majlak is. He's Logan Paul's sidekick, basically, on a YouTuber. He dates like porn stars, apparently. This is his ex-girlfriend, whatever this girl is, and she's like a porn star or something like that. Anyway, he's Logan Paul's right-hand man. He's this co-podcast host of whatever the show that Logan Paul does. So this is who Mike Majlak is. Just so you know, like no idea. I had no idea who this person was. Like, I mean, the content of the book sounded interesting to me. I don't know how I stumbled upon this one. You remember Dreamland, the book about the opioid epidemic? I think it was like maybe one of those books they recommended after you get, if you read this, you should check out this. I think that's how I came across this book. This book is called The Fifth Vital. The reflection of this one is always stay busy, but busy with the right things. So just to put it in perspective, the fifth vital, it's another word for saying pain management. The fifth vital sign, like doctors and providers always look for 4 different vitals that they would like measure somebody to measure of like somebody's health, like in like a in the hospital. Well, back in the 80s, the medical world deemed that there was a fifth vital sign that they should be monitoring at all times, and that was pain. Like, what is your pain level? The only reason I know is because I worked at HC1 and I told you about the whole like Toxadvisor thing that we were doing, where we were marrying up the PDMP and the toxicology results, and basically for the opioid epidemic, and trying to find ways to help doctors be monitoring closer monitoring compliance to what they're actually prescribing, and making sure that people weren't taking illicit drugs, and how they were measuring up to their prescriptions, whatever. Anyway, I happen to know a lot about this world in general, but the fifth vital, sometime back in the 80s, I think, or something like that, maybe the 90s. I can't remember exactly when it was, but this is when the opioid epidemic really kicked off. People said pain matters, and monitoring pain and managing pain and measuring pain matters. So what they would do is they would take these scale of 1 to 10 questions of like, what's your pain level? That's a 7. Okay, great. Like, here's some opioids, and then they would come back the next time. They're like, what's your pain level now? And they're like, still 7. They're like, oh, okay, well, here's some more opioids, like, I mean, this is basically, no joke. This is actually, there was like written scores, like they would just keep of like, that's how they measured your pain threshold. They would just ask a patient, like, what's your pain right now? And they would say, it's this. And they're like, okay, here's some drugs. This is exactly how the pain management industry has always worked since pain was deemed the fifth vital. So I thought this was an interesting title, and I immediately knew what it was when I saw it. And then I read the guy's story. His story is about when he was in high school. Mike Majlak took OxyContin for the first time. He was a middle-class suburb kid from Milford, Connecticut, and he and a bunch of his friends got into OxyContin, just like a lot of other kids in the 90s. He's like my age, I think. So this is very apropos for the whole opioid epidemic. He was on the front end of that. Like, this is when you could get these pills, pill mills all day long, just like we talked about in Dreamland, and people that were getting prescribed these things just out of nowhere, and then they were selling them to their friends. And OxyContin's like really, really serious shit too, and it was billed as something that was not that serious. So him and his friends decided, I like the way I feel when I take this stuff, so we're gonna take it. And they got addicted quickly. By the time that he had graduated from school, he was a full-blown opioid addict, basically. That led to a series of the next decade of his life. And how old was he? Said while his peers were graduating from college, buying homes, getting married, having kids, leading normal lives, Mike was snorting OxyContin, climbing out of cars at gunpoint, burying his childhood friends, and unable to escape the noose of addiction. He eventually, like a lot of addicts, lost the trust of all his family and friends, was completely alone, and his life was spiraling down into a shit show. He was probably going to die, like a lot of other addicts in this world. Luckily for him, he clung on to some hope and dug himself out and ended up getting a job. That job turned into something that he started doing some marketing for, that company Lovesac, the big beanbag chairs. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Look, I have one actually in our basement. They're awesome. All these things make sectionals and stuff now. They're super comfortable. This is what they were originally made for. They were called Lovesac's. They're like these massive beanbag chairs, super soft and huge. Like a bed. I have one in our basement. It's really comfy. He somehow convinced the owner of that company that he wanted to be his social media manager before social media was really a big thing. He ended up, I don't know how he got this job, but he got this job. Like he was sober for a little bit, and the owner of the company gave him an opportunity, and he ended up meeting Logan Paul, finding out this is when Logan Paul was kind of starting out his YouTube journey, and they ended up working together at Lovesac, and he got him to do some like cross promotional stuff, and it really helped to generate a ton of leads and things like that for the business. And then he ended up becoming really close with Logan Paul, and Logan Paul ended up then becoming really close to him, and then he asked him to come be his marketing manager. And then, life ended up snowballing to where it is today, where now he's like a famous influencer, YouTuber, podcast host, whatever. That's his story, basically. So he was a drug addict on death row, basically, like falling apart, to now he's sober and living a life where he's enjoying it, but he's still definitely, it's kind of remarkable where he came from and where he is now. So I mean that's kind of the story, right? That makes you following along with me here? Okay.
Yeah.
So now that that's out of the way, once again, I had no idea who this person was. Like, I did not read this because I was like, oh, Mike Majlak. Oh my God. Like he's like I don't even know who Logan Paul is. I mean, I know that I've heard the name. I think he's a boxer. Isn't the guy that boxes or something like that? Like, or is that Jake Paul? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not YouTube isn't a thing for me. Like I don't really watch like YouTubers, and I don't know. Like I've heard like Mr. Beast, like I've heard that guy's name before, and I'm like, what the hell does he do? But I guess he's like makes a shitload of money. I don't know, man. I don't know who these people are. So like I'm not a YouTuber.
But you're not generations.
No, they're not really. I mean, hell, I walked into my friend's house. He has a 10-year-old or 11-year-old now. And I remember when he was like 6, I walked in and he was watching like it was like Jake's toy review or whatever. And this is like 5 years ago or something like that. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And he's like, oh, he's watching YouTube. And I was talking to my friend, and I was like, what do you mean he's watching YouTube? Like, what is he watching on YouTube? And he was like, this is like what they do. Like, they just watch kids playing with toys, like, and shit. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He just sits there and watches YouTube on your TV? Like, I'm like, what? My mind was like blown. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, kids just watch YouTube for like, I don't know. That's not what YouTube was for me. YouTube was like, I need to learn how to change my plumbing, my toilet fill valve or something like that. I go to YouTube to watch a video. That's what I use YouTube for. I don't go on there to entertain myself. So anyway, now I'm just rambling. All right. So the reflection, always stay busy, but busy with the right things. Over the past few years, you and I have explored this topic a lot. I think it's becoming, with the molecule of more, dopamine nation, a lot of other things about addiction. When you hear the first time you hear, most people, when they hear the word addiction, what do you think of when you hear the word addiction?
Drugs, alcohol, bad.
Right, exactly. Like, I mean, we're trained to think of as addiction as bad. Like Mike Majlak was an addict. I used to smoke cigarettes. Like I was addicted to smoking. I didn't like it. I didn't want to be a smoker. A close friend of mine almost died from crystal meth. He was an addict. He was in the same situation that Mike was in, where he's selling crystal meth to some really seedy ass people. He's living from night to night, doesn't know where he's going to sleep, sleeping out of his car, almost killed himself, wrecking his car multiple times, was chased down at gunpoint multiple times. One of my best friend's life was exactly Mike Majlak's life. I saw it, watched it, know exactly what this guy was talking about, which is why I think I was so compelled by this story, honestly, because it kind of hit home a little bit for me with one of my closest friends. I've told you about that story before. It sucks. Like, addiction sucks. Like, it's bad. We hear it, we say bad. You're an alcohol addict. You're an alcohol addict. You're addict. You're a drug addict. You're a gambling addict. You're a, I don't know what other addicts are out there. You're a smoking addict. You're a workaholic, or something like that. I don't know, right? Like we don't ever say the word addiction and say it with a positive connotation usually. However, for me, like, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but my feelings and opinions on addiction have changed dramatically through this journey. I think that we're all addicted to everybody is an addict in this world, in my opinion. Like, it's either you're addicted to stuff that's pointing you toward your purpose and you choose it, or you're addicted to shit like this where it's just out of control. You don't have any, literally it chose you, and you're just riding the wave of something else's addiction or somebody else's addiction in this world. And that's kind of my stance on it now. Like, addiction can be positive and negative. Like, it's a spectrum, in my personal opinion. So you can challenge me if you want to. Like, so and he also used to be an addict of Adderall. He went to rehab for it. So like when he hears the word addiction, he and I have argued about this so many times. This goes back to the Alex Honnold debate of, like, is Alex Honnold an addict for rock climbing? Fuck yeah, he's an addict for rock climbing. Like, yes. I mean, 100%. But my friend James is like, no, he's not an addict. Like, that's not addiction, Chris. He was like, addiction has a name and a definition and labeled, like that's addiction. Like I don't really care what you want to label it as in your psychology books or whatever, in your DSM diagnosis, codes. Like I don't give a shit. Like Alex Honnold's an addict. Like you and I are addicts. Look at us every single fucking night. We're on this thing. Tonight I've had a lot to do today. In normal worlds, I probably should be like, I'm gonna go sit down and watch some TV because I'm tired. I've done a lot today. But no, I'm like, no, get upstairs and let's go feed our addiction because we like it.
Professional athletes are addicts.
Oh, for sure, 100%, without a doubt. Michael Phelps is an addict.
Cook's an addict.
Tiger Woods is an addict. I mean, he's a literal pill addict, but he also was a golf addict for sure. I mean, that guy almost killed himself trying to play golf. Like, I mean, he literally his body was falling apart and he still was trying to play. I'm a tennis addict. My shoulder doesn't even work right now. And I'm out there. I played a match yesterday with a friend of mine that I know that I can't beat. It'd be hard for me to beat him even when I'm fully healthy, but I'm out there trying to play him. Every shot, I'm like, and like, I mean, that is addict behavior. My point is with all this though, is our mission with Clubbing is to live a balanced, sustainable life, harmony and balance, right? But here's the thing. We all know that pure balance doesn't exist in this world. Like it's not possible. Like people don't just wake up and they're like, yeah, I'm balanced, like balance takes effort, hard work and effort to find the right kind of combination of stuff that allows you to pull yourself back from the extremes, to keep yourself in this forever tug of war of going after the stuff that you really love, that aligns to your purpose, but at the same time, can kind of keep you on the spectrum and trying to keep you in that center space, right? And I think Mike Majlak in this book said something toward the end of it when he was talking about his recovery. He was like, one of the things that he learned the most during his time as an addict to now when he was in his recovery, and he's been sober for many, many, many years now. He was like, look, it's not much different. He was like, I just had to learn to always be busy, but stay busy with the right things this time versus the wrong shit. And like, if you want to live a balanced existence, I think that is the best advice you could ever give anybody. You still have to be an addict, even though that doesn't sound balanced. You have to balance out your addictions to maintain that yin and yang, that the extremities of your life or whatever, and make sure that your addictions are pointing you toward the direction you want to go in life. I don't know where you're going, but I know how we'll get there, right? And that's always stay busy, but busy with the right stuff, meaning the habits and the addictions that'll point you toward where you want to go. So that was my reflection, I guess.
So this book reminds me of the book Running with Sherman.
Go on. I don't know where you're going with this one.
So you remember Sherman, right? There is Sherman, the hero of the story, but there's also the supporting cast, the kid.
Oh yeah.
I remember my kid, right?
Zeke. Yeah. What happened? Zeke. Yeah.
Zeke. Okay. What happened to Zeke? He was struggling until he found the right thing that he was meant for.
Yep.
He started to thrive in it. So to me, I agree with you. Everybody has an addiction, and you should be addicted to. But the caveat to me, in my opinion, is that it's the how that matters, because the how determines whether or not the how aligns. Because to me, whether you're addicted to alcohol or you're addicted to drugs or any other thing, you're not addicted to the drug itself. You're addicted to the effect of the drug.
Right.
So in essence, for me, is I think when you're taking these drugs, you are addicted to the escaping of the pain, whatever the pain that you are in that state. You're addicted to the relief of the pain. So when you take the alcohol, for example, right? Because you are so, whatever, some state you're in, for example, reality. Your reality is too much pressure. You think about this and people tell you about this, whatever. When you go into the buzz of an alcohol, it numbs these things. You don't think about it more. It's not bombarding you with these pressure anymore. So you're addicted to the relief of the pressure, the relief of the pain. Right. And so the addict is good. It's always, to me, addiction is always good. It's just, how are you using, what does it mean for you to be addicted to? If the means is to be one of these things, because this thing isn't really giving you that alignment. Because to me, in the end, everybody has their own, I guess, center of balance. Because your center of balance may be different from my center of balance. Because, for example, I am more introverted than you are. Then for me, is I would rather prefer to be more, my center of balance is more on the introvert side, like maybe 80-20, 70-30, whatever. But more that I feel more comfortable versus you if you are being constrained and put into a house arrest, right? Because you're an outgoing person, it strains you more. So you're way off your center of balance than I am, and I would be. And so everybody has the center of balance. And I think to me, the center of balance is
It's purpose, is what it is to me.
So yeah,
its true meaning and purpose is the center of balance. Your addiction should point towards your purpose, and purpose is at the bullseye of balance, in my opinion. Meaning, purpose, whatever you want to call it, that is the heart of a balanced life. So your addictions should drive toward that. When your addictions drive you away from that, that's when chaos ensues and when it gets all
so
crazy.
it's all boiled down to alignment with who you are, what your purpose are. So your means, your method of addiction, your method of getting the balance has to align, right, with your purpose. And your purpose is who you are, right?
Exactly.
You can't escape from it. You can't change the DNA. You can't just say, hey, I don't like my height. I'm gonna want to be this weight. I want to be this color. You can't change your gene. Who you are is who you are. The only thing you can do is aligning your methodology with who you are. If you do that, then addiction serves you. If your addiction doesn't serve you, then it's going to be far away from the center of balance. When you have a center of balance, you can be off balance, right? When you're far away from your center of balance, far away from your quote unquote purpose, then you can be off balance. When you're off balance, you're going to have this hard time, this spiral out of control phase, right? Because you think about it, hey, why are you just spiral out of control? Because you're not in balance.
Right. You're going away from where you want to, who you are,
Exactly. So go back to what I'm saying is it's all boils down to doing things that is aligning with your purpose. And when you do that, you don't have to be worrying about anything else because you already center balance. You don't want to stray off because the only time when you're trying to run away is when you get to this point in your life where you're being pressured, you're stressed out, you're in pain mentally, physically, and spiritually, right? You're in pain, you want to escape it. That's why you're trying different many things. And the escape of it gives you a sense of saying, hey, if I'm far away from what I don't want, meaning I'm close to what I do want, because that's why drug addiction say, hey, because I'm escaping this pressure, this pain, that means that I'm getting closer to my balance in theory. But it doesn't happen like that until you really find the things that you are really, really aligned with, meaning that you're naturally good at it, you're naturally gifted at doing that particular task. And when you do that,
it just fit. It just fit. I don't know how else to say this, but like it's like a puzzle piece that fits into your life, right? Like drug addiction, alcohol addiction, most of the time, maybe somebody, like, I don't know if it's ever existed, but like maybe it was somebody's purpose, to I don't know. But like that's usually like a misaligning puzzle piece in people's puzzle, right? Like it's like I want to do all this stuff, but then I do this, it's like this puzzle piece doesn't fit, right? When you have these, as my friend Baker would say, I mean, he would just probably call them habits. You can call them addiction or whatever. Hell, there's a book, Atomic Habits. Call those atomic addictions for all I care about. But that's really what it is, right? These are habits that'll move you toward and fit into a nice little puzzle piece, right? Like, I mean, there was something else too that you said that I honestly, I can't get out of my head for a second. The pain relief of addiction, right? I don't know that this right now, what we're doing isn't a pain reliever for me. I mean, it is like when I go.
It is because thing is when you're working and people that actually do QBR, it's pressure. And so when you're talking about not things that you like to do, that you are relieving that pressure, you relieving that stress, because this is why when you get out in the day, we get energized because we're talking about things we want to do. Hey, let's form a company that we want to have, a siesta during the middle of the day, just like the French does, right? We talk about things we want, and that basically escapes us from the reality. Say, okay, I have to do these things whether I like it or not, because my quote unquote boss tells me that I have to do it for whatever reason. I don't know. It's just arbitrary, just taken out of his ass. Hey, we shall have this kind of quota for this month because that's what I decided. That's what I would pick. Reasons.
Before we jumped on this call, this is the first quarter that we just finished with this new hybrid sales development / AE model that we were doing. Our sales operations are like a joke. Honestly, it's almost comical how bad our sales ops are at our company. I know what we need to do. to fix this. But I also know that it's a lot of me right now. It's going to be just a lot of manual labor to get some of these things done that need to be done. And to be honest with you, I don't want to do it. I keep bringing it to people's attention, and I'm like, fix it, and then they don't fix it, and then I'm like, oh well, they didn't fix it. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. I can't change it, other than doing a bunch of Herculean efforts that I don't want to do. So I just keep letting it linger out there, and I don't really care because I just focus on what I need to focus on, which is leading my team, being a good manager, or being a good leader to them, helping them to grow, develop, all the other stuff, the outcomes, the performance stuff. I don't really give a fuck. Like somebody else, I know at some point in time, my boss really cares about these things. And at some point in time, she's going to ask me for details. And when she does, I scramble around and I get what she needs to get, right? Well, we came to the end of our quarter, and to your exact point where you're talking about this is a pain reliever. Like a week ago, I reached out to her and I was like, hey, like we got to do our new comp for this is the first time we're going through the comp reconciliation process for the past quarter's performance for this new model that we were doing. And she was like, well, you should already have all this information ready to go. And I was like, I don't, because we don't have this information like readily at hand. How about give me a day or two and I'll compile it and I'll send it your way. So I did. So I sent it to her on Thursday last week, and she finally replied to me on Friday, like in the middle of the day. And she was like, well, did you do this, this, and this, and this? And I was like, she was like, thanks for the info, but like, I need more info. And I go, well, I don't have that. No, that process you're asking me to do is going to take time. Anyway, so all day today, in between my one-on-ones and everything, I was trying to like do a shitload of extra work to verify the information needs to be verified and chase down all these different people in the organization and all this crap. And I couldn't get it done yet. So, because I'm still trying to do what she asked me to go do, which is a lot of manual work, and she reached out to me tonight as I was at soccer with Luca, and she was like, hey, do you have this completed yet from what I asked you to revise it on Friday? And I was like, no, I don't know what else to say. I'm still trying to figure out a few loose ends, and I really am. It's probably gonna take me a whole nother day, maybe another 2 days, manually go talk to like 20 different people to verify this stuff. Anyway, I say all this to say, I get this like message from her. It was probably the first time I've ever got a message from her where it was a bit of a lecture on Slack about how to be a good, effective manager, you have to know what your team's performance is at all times. And you should always know this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And like, this should be a lot easier.
But she doesn't. But she doesn't.
It's true. Well, there's so many things that I could get into the irony of all ironies of this statement. But to your point of what you were just saying before about two things went through my head as soon as I saw that. I could tell her the truth as to all the shit that's going on in the background as to why this is preventing me, but she doesn't want to hear that. And I know that if that was me on the other end of that, I'd be like, those are just excuses, Chris. Fix the problem. Just get it done over activities and tasks that I don't think that they care about. She cares about it. She's really good at these things. Like, she loves managing the numbers. I don't. I love leading people. Like, that is what I really like to do. And that's fine. Like, sometimes you just have to do shit that you don't want to do, sadly, unfortunately, even though you shouldn't, but you do. But what I'm getting at ultimately is, like, I thought long and hard about how I wanted to respond back to her Slack message to me as I was at, a soccer game with my son. Part of me could have been like, hey, I'm at a soccer game with my son. I'm doing a lot of work right now. I'm trying to scramble around because you asked me to go do this stuff. Like, chill out. I'll figure it out. It could be answer one or statement one. Statement two could be, okay, you know why this is all fucked up? Because like I've been telling you for 3 fucking months, our sales ops are shit. And I've been talking to our sales ops manager, who I've proposed many different solutions, written SOPs, told him exactly what I want to do with this, and he hasn't done any of it. So I just said, fuck it. Like, I could start blaming a million people. And this is why this journey matters to me. Because I stopped and I was like, you know what? I don't care. I just said, you know what, Anna? I was like, you're right. Agreed. This should be something I got done. Understood. I'd love your guidance. Like, you want to talk tomorrow about it or whatever? And she was like, yeah. So, like, my point is, I didn't take some bitch way out of it. I thought, hey, I'm gonna go talk to True in a little bit. Like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, I'll just let her tell me what's right, what's wrong. Like, I don't care. Just what do you want done? And I'll just get it done, because I don't really care. Because what I want to do is go back and lead my team. Like, that's what I care about. Like, what, just tell me what to do wrong. I'll fix it going forward in the future. And then I get to go relieve my pain doing stuff that I like to do. I'll go back and hang out with my son. I'll go back and maybe we'll go play some pickleball together, go play some tennis if I can, or whatever. Like, like, this is my pain reliever of choice. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
In years past, in my lifetime past, I would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, do you have any idea what is going on that you can't see?
Then you have a sleepless night because nothing bothers you. To let your brain marinate on this information, it's just, giving you a migraine. So to me, that's pain. And to say, hey, if I can say, I don't care. I have things that are more important to me. I can talk to, I'm going to spend time with Luca. I can spend time doing the things I love to do. it stops the pain, it stops the bleeding, it stops the pressure. And to me, that's pain reliever. You basically putting pain in its corner. And to me, that can be addictive.
It's incredibly addictive. Like, I don't even care what she tomorrow when I go talk to her, I'm just going to say, you know what, Anna, this hasn't been a great process. Do you have any advice for me? And if you do, tell me how. And if you don't, then I'll just try to fix it as fast as I can, and I'll figure out a new process going forward in the future, you know? But my point is, this is anti-me. Like, when you don't have a pain reliever that goes towards your purpose, like, all you want to do is fight, you know? Like, it's like, you just want to fight.
Well, the thing is, you're trying to stop the pain, right?
Yeah.
So to stop the pain, there's, I guess, a lot of people without another option, they go into the pain and go head to head with it. Yeah. And trying to fight. Because the thing is, when you say, okay, I'm going to fix this, right? If you don't have this pain reliever, like these Yomo or the other thing that you do that kind of say, hey, you know, this, you'll be trying to solve that problem.
I'd be working right now. Yeah, guaranteed.
To get away from the pain, because hey, I need to get this thing done, which I don't want to get done, but I have to get done, but I need to get it done. So you're going to be working all night, thinking about it. Like I said, you're going to have a sleepless night because you'll be thinking about how to solve this problem. The reason why you want to solve the problem is so you're going to stop the fucking
whatever. I don't want my boss to think I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want somebody, I don't want to fail my team, you know, like I don't want her to have no confidence in what I'm able to do. Like, you know, like that sucks. That hurts. Like, you know, like, I mean, especially given the fact that I get like zero feedback. Like, I mean, especially because I get no feedback. I talk to her like once a month. She's incredibly busy. She's like personally managing, like, I don't even know how many direct reports she has. It's insane. She's a machine when it comes to numbers. Like, this is what she loves. You want to talk about a beaver must dam? Like, she is a numbers maniac. Loves it. Lives off of it. Every day, all day long. She knows everything that's going on around her and can report on it, and is a great project manager. This is why she does what she does.
I could suggest her that she need to add another number.
Mine?
No, a fifth vital. to every direct report that she has, she need to ask them, what's your pain level today, from 1 to 10, right? And then say, okay, this is my oxycodone or, you know, Vicodin or whatever, you know, give it, and then the next time she talks to you again, say, how do you feel? And then she can prescribe a little bit more. If she's a numbers person, I would suggest that she put another number on her chart. These direct reports will have this level of pain. It's like, do I want to do this? Am I suited for it? Because the thing is, not everybody is going to say, hey, you know, this is my beaver must damn kind of thing.
Doing analytics,
you're not a numbers guy, right?
Yeah,
exactly. You're not a numbers guy, right? So for you, that's pulling teeth, but for her, that's eating cake, and she's comparing eating cake to pulling teeth. Hey, you should love, you know, get your teeth pulled like me. And to me, that's why you have to ask to be vital.
I think that's awesome. And I totally agree with you. I might actually ask my own team that, because like, this is the funny thing about me is, and she says, you need to know your team's performance at all times. I know my team's performance at all times. I talk to them every day. Unlike her, and I don't mean this to be a negative to her, she never talks to me. She doesn't understand what's going on with me. She can see a dashboard and whatever. If I do something negative, then we can talk. But at the end of the day, I know through verbal words and listening to my team and checking in with them all the time. There was a book that I read. I loved this book. Honestly, I think I'm going to reread it because it's been a while since it's probably been 6 months since I read it. And it was probably one of my favorite workbooks that I've ever read in my life. It was called The 9 Lies About Work. It was so good. One of the things that I absolutely remember most from a work perspective, you know, they said, if there's one thing that you do as a leader of other people, if there's one thing you can do to give you a massive advantage over everybody else, whether you're good at it or not, is spend 1 hour, have a one-on-one with each one of your direct reports every single week. Never miss it. That should be the number one thing. If you did only one thing, do that. You don't even need to do anything. Just show up and talk and let them talk. You don't have to do anything. Just show up and be there for people. I get it. You're busy. I'm busy. We're all fucking busy. Like, I mean, but like,
Who
Show
is it?
up for the people. Who is it? I mean, the thing is, can you imagine us doing this podcast if you were like, I was like, hey, True, I'll record my thoughts, you record your thoughts, and we'll just compile it together and we'll call it, call it a day. You're like, that's not fun. I don't want that. Like, who gives a shit? Like, I want to talk to you about like what we're talking about. Like, what that doesn't do anything for anybody. Like, what the fuck does that do? Like, just if you never said a word and you just let me talk for an hour, I would probably be like, man, that was really helpful, True. Thank you so much. And you'd be like, well, I learned something. Maybe like, I'm glad I could help. Have a good one. I'm like, man, this guy's an amazing manager. Like, how to win friends and influence people. True's the best, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, just fucking show up. Like, but you want me to go give you that tip? No, she won't do that because I've asked her this before. I've said, hey, you want to do something for me? Let's have a one-on-one every single week. And she was like, I don't know, I can commit to that. I got a lot of other things that I got to do. Let's just talk whenever we need to talk. And well, we don't need to talk very often, it turns out. So we don't talk.
I mean, the thing is, we don't need to talk until something happens. Guarantee something will happen because you don't talk.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
This is where we are now. Say, hey, because like I say, by the sense that you're telling me that she says she have a post on every single one of her reports, it sounds to me that she doesn't. That's why this thing comes up.
Through a dashboard. She.
But that is.
You're right. Like, I understand. To be clear, like, she's not wrong. I could be better at managing to numbers to people. I go out of my way to not manage to numbers. To be fair to her, when it comes to leading versus managing balanced equation, I pretty much only focus on leadership 97% of the time. Managing to me is numbers and processes and whatever. I focus on
people you lead, things you manage. You don't manage people. You cannot manage people. Exactly. You just don't. If you think you can, you are just fooling yourself.
I agree.
You can only inspire people. You can't really because eventually they won't stay there. That's why people quit all the time. They quit a job and they change all the time.
If this is my actual boss, that she's my fill-in boss right now, right? Because she fired my boss, so I'm technically reporting to a level above that I shouldn't be reporting to be honest with you.
So you're reporting to a dotted dashed line, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, like, she I don't want this to be negative to her because I think she's really talented. I really do. So I think she's very smart, great, right, and all that good stuff. But she's an incredible manager. She has her finger on the pulse of the numbers of the business at all times. She's really, really good at that. She is awful at understanding the finger of the pulse of the people of the business. I would have, if she would talk to me every single week, and we had an honest, open dialogue, I would have told her for the past 3 months, the sales ops that we have in place for this stuff is fucked. And I've told her, but at this point in time, she doesn't want to hear these things. And I've learned that. I don't bring problems to her because she doesn't want to hear problems. So I didn't bring it to her. So now a problem developed and it is what it is. She spent 3 months not hearing about it because she said she didn't want to hear about it. So I didn't tell her about it. So it's not like I didn't know this was going on. I mean, let's be honest, anyway, your point was this is a pain reliever and I would have been taking it out in so many different ways, and right now I don't care. I'm pretty calm. It's fine. Hey, look, I'll fix it or I won't fix it. You can fire me or not fire me if you don't think that I'm good enough at managing to numbers. That's up to you, but I don't care. I feel pretty good about what I've done with these people and I'm happy with that. So it's fine.
Right.
That's that. All right. I want to go to bed because I got to wake up and be a single dad for the next 4 days. Being a single parent sucks. I mean, it really does. Like, I'm sure you've had to do this many times in your life, especially you have 4 kids, but it is not easy to work, do all the balance aligning activities of addictions, to feed my own addictions, to keep myself balanced and be a good parent, and also, still do everything, keep everything else in order. It is just, it's hard, man. If I had to do this,
it's mostly, it's just sacrifice. You gotta do what you have to do.
Yeah. Right.
For your kid. So for the most part, most of my, I guess, fatherly duty during the 15 years, it's just a blur because, I'm completely robotic in that area. It's because it's not something that you are in the center of balance. Just leave it at that.
It's chaos.
The only thing that comes out of it is, having your kid be healthy, and that's the reward you get. But that's the only thing that keeps you going. But if without that,
no way in hell, man. It's like it actually does crack me up. Like the power of parenting, the power of parenthood. For me, going a day without thinking about Amelia, 50 different times is almost an impossibility for me. And I don't want to not think about her. That's a part of my purpose, right? But also, like, for Luca, because he's right in front of me every single day, it's really, really funny when you're not around him. Like when he's at daycare or something like that, like in the
Right.
middle of the day, I'm like, oh, I kind of miss the little guy. And then when he's
You
here, I'm
you
like,
think
God,
about
man.
you think of him like every 10 minutes. Like
Right.
even if your kid's in a play date somewhere with a friend, where's Luca? You will. But that's the thing. We are compelled to have that kind of behavior.
We like
That
only remember the good stuff when they're away. And then when they're in front of us, we're like, we just deal with the bad shit, Like, I don't know why. It's like we almost just zone out or something and go to a different, like,
when we
in our
have to, but that's what I'm saying is the thing that keeps us going is that bond. Whatever you want to define that, is the bond you have with your kid, right? Like you said, if he's at daycare, you kind of miss the little guy, right? And you think about him maybe like 50 times a day just because he's not there.
Hell, I was even like, Felicia usually picks him up. I usually take him to daycare, and
Mm.
Felicia usually picks him up. But I was at a certain point in time in the middle of the day, I was like, oh, I'm like looking forward to like going to pick him up from daycare because I never get to pick him up from daycare. And I was like, I honestly I was gonna like wait until like the last minute to give myself more time to like to keep working and doing whatever I had to do for the night. I don't know. It was about 45 minutes before I had to pick him up from daycare, and I was like, I still had work to do, and I was like, I'm just gonna go pick him up. I mean, it is weird because you're like, oh, I could have had 45 more minutes without him. I'd rather just have him back. I mean, fuck. Did I tell you about when my aunt? We went to this Dave Matthews Band concert 2 weekends ago, and my aunt Joanna was watching Luca, and we brought him over like Saturday, like 5 o'clock or something like that. And we were going to pick him up on like Sunday morning. And she texts us on Sunday morning. And she's like, hey, I want to take him to church and like, want to go take him play around, like, some park or whatever. Like, she's like, is it okay if I just like take him back after his nap or something like that? And we were like, my wife and I both get this text at like 8 a.m. in the morning. And we were both excited to go pick him up. And, and we're like,
Sure.
I guess you can have it. This is no joke. The comedy that ensued after that, we both sat around in our bed going, what do we do? This is no joke. We literally were like, what do we do right now? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, you want to go get brunch or something? And she was like, yeah, we can do that. And I was like, then you want to go look at a car? Because I know you've been talking about wanting to look at a car, and she was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. We can do that. I was like, yeah, let's go to Broader, which is near my aunt's house. And I was like, we can like, be around them and like, be there to like go pick them up, like, right away or whatever. Like, we'll be on that side of town. And, we're like, yeah, it's a good idea. So we go to brunch and we're like sitting around and then we didn't actually realize it, but apparently all car dealerships are closed on Sundays. And we didn't know that. So around like 12:30 or something like that, after we get done eating brunch, we're like, what do we do now until like 5 o'clock? So we just like wandered, literally, this is no joke. We like wandered around like near my aunt's house, like just walking up and down this thing called the Monon Trail, which is like an old railroad track that they turned into like a walking path that goes like 25 miles through the city. We're just like wandering around the area, like just looking at the clock going, can we pick him up now? Can we pick him up now? Like, we were so lost. I mean, honestly, like, I've never been that lost in my life because we were not planning on giving him away for an extended period of time to somebody, watch him for like a couple hours and we can go to this concert and come back. But she wanted to keep him. So it was like comical. Like honestly, you feel like you're fucking lost. Like,
Yes.
like with, it's you're like,
I know exactly what you go through.
it's kind of funny, honestly, to live, anymore. It honestly makes me wonder what the fuck I did before I had children. What did we do? Like when we had nothing to do all day long, we could make up our own agenda. What did we do? I don't even I have no idea. Anyway, all right. Yeah. Let's put a pin in this one because I'm gonna go to bed. The question we can leave for everybody is: are your addictions pointing you in the right or wrong direction toward a balanced life? Think about that. Think about
i.e. purpose.
I.e. purpose. Right. Yeah, that's right. We should call balanced life equals purpose-driven life, equals meaningful,
Well, purpose is the center of balance. So to be in balance, you have to be on top of the center of your purpose. That means you are doing exactly what you are meant to do as per your gene expression.
Exactly. And your addiction should go and funnel you toward that, like if you're a beaver, you must dam. You should be addicted to dam.
Like you say, your addiction to your kid, right? Like once you say, hey, what am I going to do now? The thing is, you're not doing anything other than circling around and waiting anxiously for the time to come to pick up your kid. And you have one kid.
Right.
Okay. And so to me, it doesn't matter how many kids you have.
Right.
You're gonna be in the exact same place, and that's what drives you. That's in your gene. You cannot get away from it.
They're always at the center of your fucking life, you know, like you can't get away from them. And that's a good thing.
Yep.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, thanks for the great conversation as always and giving me pain relief for the night. And I'm going to go to bed. So
Yep.
enjoy your night, everyone. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Good night.